very special day we do have. It's a finally Friday. That means my partner in crime, my co-host this morning is Laura Lee. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Miss Becky.
Happy Friday from Salem Crossing and Meadowview Healthcare Center.
Yay! We made it. Another week. Another week.
Hang on, baby. Friday's coming. It has arrived. Yay. Going to the 29th day of April. Moving right along here. Let's thank our sponsors.
Absolutely. We have Walmart, Meadowview Healthcare, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Celebrity Home Loans, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Fox Curly Wealth Management.
Yay. Thank you to our great sponsors. And we do have a paid political program paid for by Republican candidate Brent Miller for Sheriff, and we're glad to have Sheriff in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Becky. Glad to be here.
Happy Friday, right?
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, we didn't want to have you on a Monday. We decided to have you on a Friday. Everybody's a little happier on Friday, right?
Absolutely.
Now, although all three of us right here work Saturdays, Sundays, but
Yeah.
I mean, really, right? I can remember those days whenever like Friday was the day that like kind of the cutoff day.
Yes.
Now we all three in this room, you know what I mean? It all kinds of blends, but for some reason I still get excited about Friday.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
At least Saturday and Sunday are a little slower.
Yeah.
If nothing
A little.
Yeah.
Well, mine kind of tapers
So
off
you
a
say.
little bit.
So you say, well, you're supposed to. Remember, we made a commitment at the beginning of the year, Brent, that we were going to say the word no a little bit more and cut back a little, weren't
I
we,
feel
Laura?
like it's even less.
Yeah,
we jinxed ourselves.
So yeah, we just the opposite. Everything's opening up, and we were just talking about your calendar, our calendar, and everybody's calendar's got like 5 things going at once. So,
Do you know I found erasable ink pens for my calendar? That way I can just erase that, just add 2 or 3 extra things in. I'm like,
I love that. All right, the 29th day of April, we're getting on the downhill slide. Today is Child Care Professionals Day. Hats off to all of those, and they're taking care of our little ones. So we salute them, You talk about how much fun they've got to be having. And now they probably love, for those that get off Saturday and Sunday, they love Fridays, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure they do.
This is also a day of remembrance for all the victims of chemical warfare. International Dance Day. All right, so we'll do some dancing after coffee club, I guess. I don't know.
Not
Maybe
sure you
during.
want to see that with me.
I don't know. Boot scoot boogie. I don't know. National Arbor Day. National Hairball Awareness Day. That's all you cats out there.
Cats and kittens.
Well, I was thinking, didn't Shrek remember pits and or what did you say? Cats and kittens.
Cool cats and kittens. Remember the Tiger King phase through COVID?
Oh my gosh, how could I forget that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Brent's like, oh please say it's not so. Say it's not
All
so.
your cool cats and kittens.
Oh my gosh, Laura, that's hilarious. Okay. National Historic Marker Day. Love that. Historic markers. National Peace Rose Day. Oh, here we go. I love this. National Shrimp Scampi Day. Laura, you like it? What about you, Brent?
Oh, yeah. I love shrimp.
Yeah, me too. Poem in your pocket day. Do you ever have a poem in your pocket so you can read it to Marty, Brent?
Probably not.
No, what about you, Laura?
Maybe I should work on that.
There you go. Have that in your pocket. Yeah.
No poems in my pocket.
Let's see here. We jumped the World Day. It shows people out jumping. World Wish Day. And this is zipper day. You ever had the zipper where it goes up the wrong way and zipper? Oh my God! I was just talking about that. When many years ago, when I'd go shopping, my mom would always check the zippers and the buttons and everything to make sure the good quality. They don't make that anymore.
Remember when you were teaching your kids how to zip their coats?
Oh my goodness!
Just let me do it. That's what I was thinking, trying to teach. I'm like, just let me do it. We've got to go.
Let me just do it.
It's been 20 minutes.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Or like if you have a snowsuit on, or how about those coveralls and you have to use the restroom quickly. Yeah, can be difficult, right? So get out and enjoy. We appreciate zippers, and we appreciate zippers that work. Even more so. Okay.
And
so,
kids that learn how to zip.
There you go.
It's good to know somebody that can sew that can replace them.
Oh, there you go.
Where they no longer function properly. so you don't have to necessarily get rid of that clothing. It might be your favorite sweatshirt.
Oh,
or
isn't
something
it
like that.
true? And those are the best. Then when you start getting those old, just the things you don't want to let go, like an old pair of shoes or, a jacket or something. It's like, no, to the world, it's like, why are you wearing that? But it feels so good, right?
Absolutely.
Just
All the
comfortable.
80s jeans that are coming back
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I've still got them. Yeah, I can bring them out. I know, it's crazy. Yeah. I don't have to buy anything. I've got it all. I mean, yeah. I didn't throw it away. I knew it was going to come back.
Absolutely.
So let's jump in and Sheriff Miller, we are actually getting closer to the time, and I do want to thank you for coming to the forum the other night, and I thank all of the candidates that came, because that was I work hard on that, and I take it seriously as a radio station, as a tool, and I appreciate you coming, and I know you got a busy schedule, but I just want to thank you personally on that.
Well, thank you, Becky, for having the forum to give the candidates an opportunity to come forward and speak to the public and talk a little bit about their platform and, what they represent and those kind of things. So we appreciate the opportunity to talk to the people. Mm-hmm. So thank you. Thank you in the radio station.
Absolutely. So let's jump in and maybe for those, let's find out a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family, and you've got a beautiful family, and let's meet Sheriff Brent Miller.
Okay. Yep. I am a lifelong resident of Washington County. Born and raised here, lived here my entire life. My parents are Ray and Nancy Miller. They've been lifelong residents of the county as well. I've got a late brother, Shannon Miller, and his late wife, Sherry Miller. I've got an older sister, Tanya Chrisman, and her husband, Jim Chrisman. A younger sister, Rhonda Campbell, and her husband, Shannon Campbell. And then I'm married to my beautiful wife, Marty.
Yes.
We've got 3 kids, Trenton, Trevin, and Tristan. And they're all pretty special to me. My family's been a great support group for me through the last campaign and this campaign. And I appreciate everything that they've done for me. My youngest kid now, Tristan, she's a freshman up at IU. Studying to be an elementary school teacher. Proud of Tristan.
You should be.
That the teaching occupation is a lot like law enforcement. There are not enough teachers out there anymore. And so,
we need teachers. We're begging for teachers. Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
She'll be wonderful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's.
Yeah, and you said you had to go pick her up right after.
Yeah, the campaign's Tuesday on the 3rd, and her last class is that week, and she has to the 7th to be out. So yeah. when you take your last final, you've got like 24 hours to be out off campus up there. So it's going to be a busy week next week.
Definitely.
Get the election out of the way, and then get into the moving mode to go up there and get her moved home from Bloomington. And it's been a great freshman year up there for her. We've enjoyed going up there. That was her lifelong goal. She's always talked about going to IU. And she's enjoyed it up there, and like I said, we're proud of her. And, Trevin, my youngest son, he works for the Pursuit shop here in town. He actually works on our police cars for us. When they're in up at the Pursuit shop. Trevin upfits police cars for John Jones, and we appreciate the job that Trevin and the Pursuit shop does on our vehicles and things like that, help keep us going.
Oh, that's so important.
It's very important because, when a car goes down, it ain't like we've got a huge pool of cars to drive. So when things go down, we've got to get them repaired. And electronics are always breaking down on you and things. Sure. And so,
Well, and everybody would be rough on cars. I'm sure that,
Well, police cars aren't driven the way you would drive your car.
No.
They're emergency vehicles. They get drove pretty hard, and 100,000 miles on a police car is different than 100,000 miles on a citizen's car. And so.
But we're very thankful, and when we're on that end, when we want that policeman to show up, seconds matter, and so you want a car that's going to get it.
Yeah, and that's always the thought of the sheriff. Something on the back of your mind. You always got to be thinking about that. Your police fleet and things like that. You've got to make sure that you got cars that your guys can drive and that are safe to drive at high speeds and things like that. And so, that's one of the many liabilities that come with being the sheriff and things like that I have to think about on a daily basis. all the different liabilities. That's another reason why it's extremely important to have somebody in the sheriff's seat that thinks about liabilities to protect the citizens, and so we don't end up spending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawsuits and things like that. So
also protecting your people too, and that's something that's
right.
important, because I know you get close to your officers, and and making sure they're safe, because when you're in that high pursuit and they're and their mind is focusing on something or trying to get somewhere, you never know. Of course, especially here in the rural area of Washington County. I mean, if you have a deer pop out, or or another driver, or something, so I mean, protecting them too is very valuable to you.
Absolutely. That was something that we also spent a little time at the sheriff conference talking about that this past winter up in Indianapolis. Was about mental health for police officers. Mental health is a huge issue for any sheriff in the state of Indiana.
I'm so glad you're talking this.
And I've spent a lot of time talking to people about mental health over the last 3.5 years, because it is such a huge problem. To me, it's the elephant in the room, but that everybody knows is there, but we don't, and we talk about it, but we don't get a lot of action going on to help with the situation. And I've had Trey Hollingsworth come to me a couple different times and talk about mental health, and some other senators and congressmen and representatives and things, and and then recently had a meeting with the lieutenant governor down in Harrison County, and we spoke about mental health down there, and she assures everybody there at the meeting that we are going to see some kind of assistance coming in the near future with mental health. So that's a plus. I'm going to hold some people's feet to the fire on that to make sure that we do, because again, like I said, that is a huge issue for all sheriffs across the state of Indiana.
Well, I think COVID helped bring that even more to the forefront.
It did. It really did. Mental health
is opened it.
It's gotten worse since COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that it also helped bring it out more in the open. We slowed down enough to actually truly recognize it.
Yes,
that is needed.
Well, and again, like I said, not thinking about this either so much as until we had that training up there. They were talking about mental health for police officers as well, because that's an issue too that's out there. And looking back, we've had a couple officers, I think, that has left our department. Partially because of some things along that lines, that some things that we could have probably done better for the mental health of our officers. Because again, that repeated exposure to trauma and things, seeing the things that police officers see every day and stuff, affects people.
Absolutely.
And you got to have a place to vent and to talk to people about that and things, to stay healthy yourself, because we can't help the public if we can't take care of ourselves first. So
exactly. Yeah, we say that all the time.
I've got a deputy on the department that took up an interest in that, brought it to my attention, and that's Matt Hine. And he wanted to go to training in order to debrief our staff, when bad things like that happen. And we recently sent Matt to that training to be
I'm so glad to hear
guy on our department to help with mental health with our dispatchers, our officers, because dispatchers answer the telephone, they take those bad calls.
Absolutely.
They need somebody to talk to as well.
There was a few years ago, there was a show, about the dispatcher. Remember, I think it was Holly Berry that played. Remember, and to watch I thought it was good to highlight. I don't think we think about what all everyone sees and does all the time. And I'm so happy, because I've been in several meetings, and I've even interviews, I've done some Hollywood, and I'm talking about some celebrity interviews, and there's they're talking about it now. And remember, let's go back years ago. It wasn't something if we'd always talked about the physical, if you had physical trauma, if you had a broken leg or broken arm or something like that, but no one would talk, and everybody was we don't talk about the mental. And that's something that now we're learning how important it is to talk about. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is things that need to be addressed. And if we can get and help and help ones that need it, And I think as an officer, I think that's something that we just need to remind everybody what trauma they see and what they do every day.
Yeah, like I said, that repeated exposure to trauma and things takes effect on people, and it affects people differently and things. And yes, and most police officers typically are the hardest people to admit that they need help with something, because they think that's a sign of weakness, So It's difficult for officers to ask for help, and so again, that's why when this stuff gets brought to light, and like I said, having an officer on our department, Todd Murphy, he's one of my department chaplains. He's also interested in this program as well, and doing the training with Matt Hine to help our staff out, things like that when bad stuff happens, because unfortunately it happens almost every day somewhere, and repeated exposure to it does cause mental health issues. It's something that, just like I said in the past, it just, like you said, it wasn't talked about.
No.
And it's getting brought to the forefront now and being looked at, and it's definitely a concern and something that needs to be addressed. And so we're taking steps to do that with our department up there. It's something new that when it was brought to our attention, hadn't really given it a whole lot of thought, and it makes perfect sense. When Matt came in and sat down and explained why he wanted that training and stuff to help out our staff up there. I thought that would be great training to send him to, and I think that's going to help our staff out tremendously.
Oh, I'm 100%. I would like to even know and stay up and find out further about that, because I think it's important for everyone to realize that, and the more we talk about it, the more we realize, and everybody has different levels, someone, might, be in the exact same room, and it can affect someone different. Everyone's different, and you have to realize that. And no one's wrong, no one's right, and there's not a right or a wrong. It's just a matter of, this is the way it is, and therefore, if we need that, need that extra help, then we need to make sure that our officers, or anyone, even in schools now, we've got counselors that we have added. And I mean, this is something that everyone has realized, and even different businesses have brought on counselors and people they talk to, and advisors they check in with to make sure. So I mean, I love that it's everybody doing this.
Well, and this stuff all circles around the things that trying to modernize the sheriff's department. We've been doing lots of things trying to modernize our sheriff's department to try to get up with the times. And if you don't sit in that sheriff's chair, sometimes you might not have the same perception that the sheriff has, because when I was asked what are the three main issues that you think the elected position, that you're seeking faces, and we've already talked about one of those, which is mental health, was one of my top three things that I thought was a huge issue. Obviously drugs is an issue. Drugs has always been an issue. Drugs is a very profitable business. It's always going to be a top issue. It's one of those things that, yes, I'd like to do more with the drugs in our community to keep it out of our community, and we're going to work on that. We'll talk a little more about that here in just a little bit. But the other thing, my third thing on those top three issues, was retention of qualified police officers, because again, you don't have people standing in line wanting to be police officers today.
No.
And we have to do more to keep the officers that we get, because we did put together a new hiring process up there at the sheriff's department for our deputies now. It's a great process. It starts off with a physical agility test. The second phase is a written test. Then we do background investigations and interviews. And it's not just, as they used to call it, a good old boy system where you just hire somebody because it's somebody's relative. Everybody gets a fair shot at being a deputy up there. They apply. Everybody goes through the same process. And, and we're getting some very qualified deputies now. And I'm excited about the new deputies that we've hired on our department. And we want to try to keep those people, and we want to try to retain the ones that we have that's been there for a little while too.
Absolutely.
Because last year we lost a couple deputies to other jobs. We lost three of them last year. One decided to go work for himself, making more money, which I understand that as well. I just spoke to that officer yesterday, or former officer yesterday, and I'm confident that he misses what he used to do. But, at times you got to do what you have to do for your family and things. And another officer left our department to go to Jeffersonville and made a lot more money down there, and I get that as well. And so, you hate to lose these guys, and we got to focus on trying to do more to keep these people. And the county council has worked very well with the sheriff's department to try to retain these people. And my hat's off to our county council. There's some great people sitting on our county council that clearly public safety is high on their list. Because we sat down, we had some great discussions about trying to retain our officers, and they've done several things. The officers got a a nice raise last year, which doesn't make us the highest paid sheriff's department around, but we're no longer the lowest paid sheriff's department around. And we weren't the lowest paid, but we were down towards the bottom when you compared us to other counties and stuff. And so now our deputies are making a fair salary, and again, the staff.
They should. That's good.
The county council believes in our people, and they partnered with me to hire 3 additional deputies to the sheriff's department, to help out with public safety, because we do answer over 18,000 calls a year for service. I think the last couple of years.
Say that slower. 18,000.
18,555 is the average number of calls for service a year. The last couple of years.
18,555. 55.
Yep, and you got to remember, we are the 7th largest county in the state land-wise.
I was gonna say we're
514 square miles.
Yeah.
It's a very big county. It takes a while to drive across the county, just driving 45 or 55 miles an hour, let alone, when you got emergencies. It seems like it takes forever to get the police there. It is a big county. And prior to adding the 3 additional deputies on the department, we had 13 on the department, counting the sheriff, to provide coverage 24/7. And last year, when we had 3 officers leave and we had 1 on light duty that eventually went off on maternity leave, that left us with 9 deputies. And it made it a big struggle last year. I mean, COVID alone crippled the county.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you add staffing shortages, because we've always got staffing issues in the jail. There's been staffing issues in dispatch, and there for a while I was thinking it was just us. But when you go to those sheriff conferences and you talk to the other sheriffs, you have a coffee talk, and sometimes I may not be the first one to talk, maybe the last one in the room, and by the time it gets to me, I realize it's not just us. Everybody has the same issues, and when it gets to me, it's like, well, in the best interest of time, the only thing I can say is just ditto what everybody else thinks. I have the same issues. Every police agency, or sheriff's department across the state has those shortages and things, and it's tough getting police officers. And so, I really, I think we did a really good job during COVID. When I got elected sheriff, I came out swinging. I told my deputies that I wanted us to be proactive instead of reactive. We don't sit around the station, get out and look for things to do, and let's go get out and meet the public. If you get a detail out in Little York, go take care of the detail. When you get done, maybe stop and visit with somebody out there. You see somebody out sitting on the porch or something, and get to meet those people. Earn the trust of the public. And get out and let them know that they can talk to our deputies and things. And I expressed my concerns with my deputies too. I said, listen, me personally, so that you know what to expect from me, I want quality and not quantity. I don't care about that officer that goes out here and makes 100 traffic stops a day. I want the officer that goes out here and makes a couple traffic stops a day to make something out of those traffic stops. And when you work a case, you make a good case out of it. You send the best case you can to the prosecutor's office for prosecution. It makes their job easier to get somebody prosecuted and then get justice for the victims in the end. And so, and I think our staff is doing a very good job with that. Like I said, some of these new young officers we got on the department may make 10 traffic stops and make 2 or 3 arrests, drug arrests out of those traffic stops, because they are energetic. They want to do things. They move forward with stuff, and I'm excited again to see what we can do. Our last deputy, now we've hired 6 deputies in the last year, and they've all been through the academy now but one. I've got the last one in the academy now. She graduates in about 2 weeks. I'll be excited to get the last one on the road, get her through the FTO program, and then let's see what we can do. Because I've got a detective on the department, Brad Noggle. However, he still wears a uniform, and he responds to calls every day, just like my deputies do. And I would love to get Brad to where he's a full-time investigator, and that's what he does. He's my property crimes detective, and I would like for him to focus on that. And when we get everybody back up to a full staff and running, he can do that. Nathan Maudlin, that left our department, was our narcotics officer. We have not replaced him because we've not had the staffing to do that. And again, I'm excited about these new officers. Once we get everybody trained and stuff, my intention is to have a full-time narcotics detective to assign to the drug task force again. The city police is a lot like us. They have growing pains as well. Sure. They are short several officers there as well, and their drug detective is working the road just like my detectives working the road, because you still got to answer the calls and take care of the citizens and things. And obviously, I would love to have these people working full time with the state police drug task force. They're still there. They're still making arrests. And again, if you look at Mugshot Monday, there's plenty of faces in the paper. They're still making drug arrests and things. But I know we could have a bigger impact, if we had that full staff and everybody up and running. And so again, I look forward to the opportunity to lead the Sheriff's Department for another 4 years if elected again, to try to see what kind of a difference and an impact we can make. Because I kind of, hate to use the word, but I kind of feel like I got robbed the last 2 years because of COVID.
Well, so you get elected, and then so you had, how long did you have before COVID actually?
A little over a year.
Okay,
because it was in the spring of 2020 when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it closed everything. Yeah, March 17th, I think, was the day.
Because my birthday is you're totally right, because my birthday is the 18th.
Yes.
And it was the day that, it was right before my birthday, and I was thinking, could I have not had one more day? I mean, could not have done it on the 19th, remember?
Leading up to it, I kept saying, Becky, I'm telling you, we're fixing to be in a mess.
Well, and then, and I was getting all that information too, but it's hard to get your head wrapped around how bad it was going to be.
Right.
And so, and then I was like, could it not have waited until the 19th or 20th? You know what I mean? But anyway, I did the 7th. You're totally right. Those are exactly right on the day. But going back, so you get elected and you've got all these ideas, because, I'm sure your mind's just racing, all the things you want to do, and then COVID happened.
Yeah. And that's, that was tough for us. The jail, any sheriff that you talk to will tell you that the jail is their biggest headache, with the exception of one sheriff. There's 92 sheriffs in the state of Indiana. One sheriff does not have a jail.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. But the other 91 sheriffs will tell you that jail is their biggest headache, because there are so many liabilities with that and things. And so, we implemented and put into place policies and procedures to help protect our inmates. We also did that to protect our staff, because you got to remember, the nucleus of emergency services is your dispatch center.
Absolutely.
And our dispatch center sits between the Sheriff's Department and the jail. And so again, we have to protect our inmates population back there, and we have to protect dispatch center, because we only have 12 dispatchers. And if COVID got into the dispatch center and you take dispatchers down, then there goes your emergency services. Because again, you can't just grab somebody off the street, put them in a chair, and say you're going to be a dispatcher.
No.
And it would have totally shut things down. And I, hats off to my staff. They done an exceptional job, and it was not easy. We weren't very popular because we were closed to the public. We were closed to other law enforcement. Nobody came in the building unless you worked there, or unless you were being arrested and coming into the building. And then officers could bring people in that got arrested. But other than that, we were closed. And we had programs running for the inmates that everything had to stop. We could no longer have church services for the inmates. They could no longer have GED or drug and alcohol classes and things. And that made it very difficult on the inmates as well.
Sure.
But, we checked everybody's temperature that come in the building. We had hand sanitizer that we go around multiple times a day, making hand sanitizer available to the inmates and wiping doorknobs and things down. And I will say that until January of this year, we only had 5 positive cases of COVID in the jail. One heck of a job, and that was thanks to all the hard work of my staff back there, and me constantly being on people to wear your mask, do this, do that, and do these things, and the staff doing those things. And then this spring, about January, when Omicron, that variant of COVID came along, it was very contagious. Wasn't as bad as the other variants. It got into the jail, and it kind of went a little crazy there. We ended up with less than 3 dozen cases of COVID in the jail. Somewhere between 2 and 3 dozen, what the nurse told me, and no hospitalizations. So we done an awesome job getting through that, And then as a result, again, I had to tell my officers to pull back, be reactive rather than proactive, and I didn't want to do that,
Right.
But I couldn't expose my officers to it too, because again, especially last year when I only had 9. At one time, and then we were dealing with COVID with officers the whole time too.
Sure.
And we could barely keep our head above water.
Yeah.
And I think that we managed to pull it off, and it wasn't just us managing to do it. We done it because of the other law enforcement agencies that stepped up to help us. The state police were very good to us as well, to pay officers overtime to come work Washington County to help us with stuff, and and our local conservation officer stepped up and helped us out. The city police stepped up and helped us out, and we couldn't have done it without those people. But that was a thing that, again, it shut everything down. One of the things that I started when I got elected up there was a GED program for the inmates. I think it's very important to give the inmates the tools to maybe not come back to jail when they get out. And I think that starts with the GED program as one of those. And we had one class before COVID shut us down. There were 10 students in that class, and 7 of them passed and got their GED.
Oh, so wonderful.
Proud of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what those 7 are doing today, but I do know that one of them has kept up with me since he got out of jail. And he's got a job, he's got his kids, he's got his life together.
Oh, what a blessing.
Awesome.
I can't say that that's what fixed it for him, but I think it gave him the tools to help get there. And that's my job, to give them the tools, and if they can use that to not come back to jail, that's great. Like I said, if you can keep one person from not coming back to jail, that's good too. Because when you look at the paper, that recidivism is big. You got a lot of people that keep coming back, and so again, the jail is open again now. We are starting all of our programs back up again. So the GE program, matter of fact, at 9:00 today, it starts up again.
Yay!
Awesome.
And we've got about, I want to say, 20 to 25 inmates that are going to start taking the GED program today.
Happy. That's awesome.
So
that's a blessing.
That's a great thing. We are in the process. We're talking about starting our drug and alcohol programs up again, because I think those are very important as well to have in the jail. And the grant ran out during COVID, and it's not
renewable.
They're working on it right now, trying to get it. It's going to happen. Awesome. It's just I can't tell you that it's going to start today or tomorrow. Right. But we're in the talks right now to start those programs back up. REC, which is the Residents Experiencing Christ, is a great program. That was there long before Brent came in as sheriff. I continued that when I got elected sheriff, and I think it's a great program. They have that for the inmates one time a year. The guys are on a weekend, and the female inmates are on a weekend. And we've already got those scheduled for the 2nd and 3rd weekends in July. So if people have helped out with the REC program in the past and they want to help out with that again, they can reach out to me to find out who they need to contact in order to help out with that again. Because again, I think that program is a very good program for the inmates. It's offering them more tools that might help keep them out, when they get out. And so, again, that's one of them programs that we're going to continue to do, and we're eager to get that started back up in July. Because the last time around, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say that we probably baptized between 15 and 30 inmates after the last REC program. Awesome. So, that's great program. Want to continue that one as well.
Well, I think it's important to let everyone know the programs that are going on, because a lot of times we say, that when they go to jail, they're just going to jail. We don't realize that we're really trying to work on, and do things, and like you said, putting tools, like I believe, like you have your tool belt and everything, that much more tools you can put in your tool belt. If I can talk here this morning. Anyway, but that can be that much more to help you, what I mean? And go back and to show that we believe in you, and there is help,
There's some people that go to jail that don't, they've never had that hand up to help them to truly get the good, a decent foundation for a start in life. Yeah, they don't know any different. So hats off to you guys. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's good, and it's important for everyone to know these programs that are going on, because that's good news.
Absolutely. Sure. Well, and then to swing on another thing and talk about the youth in our community, I think it's very important that law enforcement have a good relationship with the youth. I've always believed that. I've been a youth sports coach for 15 plus years. I've taught hunter education for 20 plus years. Becky, you and I, how many times have we went down the river?
We sure did, absolutely.
With the Salem Middle
What did we learn about that weed that hurts, it bites? Stinkweed?
Stingweed.
Stingweed. Oh, my goodness.
I sat through one of your hunter's education classes with my oldest.
Oh, yeah. We had a ball. And I remember eating sandwiches. This was actually true, that our canoe got kind of tipped over or got water in it.
I think I did that.
Yeah, I think, I just want to say, our sheriff.
I still apologize, Becky.
Okay, but we were so hungry that we ate that soggy sandwich. I still have that instinct. We Brent, I'll be 99 years old and remember those days that we had. We had a blast.
Well, that was
and the kids loved it.
They did.
The kids had a ball laughing and so much good information and safety and just showing that it was just.
Salem Middle School had an awesome program, and Sherry White was there, teaching hunter education and boater education, and the kids that made an A on their test on the hunter education, got to go to range day, and then I was a guest instructor at their range days to help teach kids about gun safety and things, and I absolutely loved it. The girls always made better students on range day than the boys did, because the boys don't listen. They'd stand up there to shoot as fast as they could. The girls would actually listen, and they'd actually be better at shooting,
Yeah.
And then the
well, I'm going to write that down. I love that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember having to shoot, and I was scared to death.
But I love that. But also, but you know what? I was raised in this, with hunting and everything. So, but in learning that, there's a lot that are not raised with that. Mm-hmm. But having these programs like this are so important because you learn to respect, and you learn that this is a weapon. It can be used, in the wrong way, but it can be used in a good way, and that respect needs to be taught.
Well, and again, I think it comes back to when I was growing up. There was a police officer in my life growing up, Charlie Meade.
Oh, what a fantastic!
He was my little league baseball coach. Oh. Great guy.
Oh, fantastic!
And I never forget him taking us to watch the Bad News Bears at the cinemas.
Oh,
and just the things that Charlie did for us kind of carried over to me, when I got to be an adult. And I think that's important to, to have a good relationship with the young people and to teach them, leadership skills, sportsmanship skills, life lessons, teach them the game, and some kids, need a moral compass in their life, and that's where police officers can step up and do that. And there's a lot of police officers besides myself that do volunteer to coach youth sports and things.
Yes,
and that's a great thing.
They do.
And like I said, I've done everything from coach little league baseball, little league softball, to YMCA soccer, to middle school softball, middle school football. I followed my kids all the way up.
Yes,
everything that they played, I would coach them.
You've been very active.
And even though, like I said, my youngest one is a freshman, up at IU, I still follow the kids around. There's still a lot of kids at the different schools that I know, and I enjoy watching. And I kind of call myself a freelance photographer for those kids too, because I like to try to catch action shots, at the football games, softball games, and things like that, and share it with the kids. Because wasn't anybody doing that when I was growing up in high school and in sports and stuff.
We didn't have all that.
You didn't?
No.
I only have a few pictures of myself, and I think that's great. And like I said, I put that stuff out there on Facebook, and I always tell everybody, they ask me if they can have those pictures. I said, hey, if it's on Facebook, you can have it. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there for you. And again, I've had some good relationships with some of the athletes over the years, and even after they get out of school, they see you and they still talk to you and say, hey, coach, and things. And again, it's important to build that relationship with our young people. Those are our future leaders and stuff. And I think it's important. And that's why in 2019, when I came in as sheriff, I also partnered with East and West Washington to put resource officers in the schools.
Such a blessing. Yes.
Very important to have police officers in the schools. I think it helps parents feel at ease that their kids are safe in our schools and things. We train with our school resource officers. We've done it every year until, again, COVID kind of shut things down, but we've started it back up again. We recently took, we take yearly tours of the schools in our county so that our police officers, if they have to respond to an emergency at the schools, are more familiar with them.
We're so grateful for that too. That's such a blessing. Yeah.
We've done Eastern already this year in West Washington. Salem's coming up, and the last walkthrough we did out at West Washington, we actually did that with the ambulance service. They wanted to be a part of it, because they want to be more familiar with when they respond to things. So, they're the ambulance department. They've got a new director there too, and they care about our youth as well. And it's a partnership between us and them to help keep our kids safe. And I want the same things that you want. I want us to live in a safe community. I want our kids to be safe, and I want the least amount of drugs to be in our community. But I know realistically, it's a fight that we've fought well, ever since I've been a police officer, we've had to deal with drugs.
Before
when
you
Brent's
were
gone,
in the eye,
we're still going to be fighting the drug, but we're not going to stop fighting the war on drugs. It constantly evolves, and we have to constantly change with it and things. And because again, even looking at the drug problem since I've been a police officer, that's spans. Well, I've been with the sheriff's department 32 years now, but I've been a full-time police officer for 31 years, and the drug problem has changed a lot in that time period, and we've had to change with it and things, and so it constantly evolves and constantly changes. And again, I think it's important to have police in the schools and things like that to try to tackle some of the drug problem with our kids at a younger age, because as a youth sports coach, I've taught everything from team center football all the way up to being an assistant coach for varsity football, and I always see the drugs impacting our kids at about the middle school. And I know we've got drug programs and stuff in the high school, and that's great. I think you have to have that, but I also think that we have to focus more on the elementary kids and start them out at an earlier age, educating them about drugs and things, because just over my years of coaching and seeing this, I know that once they hit middle school, they're getting exposed to it. By the time they get to high school, you've lost those kids already. So it's important to have drug programs and things at the high school, but we also have to do more down at the lower levels to educate these, our kids and stuff, to catch them before the drugs gets to them.
Right. Absolutely. And to realize, what can happen, So I think, don't be starting nothing, there won't be nothing. So start at an early age and start explaining and talking about it and bringing it to the forefront before it's somebody else does it that's not trying to educate and explain it to them. So very good.
Well, and just and not to really jump around on you, but to jump back to the jail again. When I got elected sheriff, we had a contracted nurse there at the sheriff's department that was there 1 hour a day, 7 days a week, with an inmate population, probably an average population of about 150 to 170. There's no way possible that one nurse, 1 hour a day, could take care of your medical needs. And I realized that really quick. And so, again, when the contract was up, we did not renew that contract. We decided, I talked with the council and the commissioners, and we went with quality correctional care, and we went a different route. And now we have a nurse 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, to take care of our medical needs of our inmates and things. And we have a whole lot less problems now because, again, you got somebody there 40 hours a week dealing with that. And we had access to a physician before, but we still have access to a doctor that comes into the jail up there and sees the inmates. And now with quality correctional care, we also have access to mental health in the jail. We've got somebody that comes in there and will help take care of some of the mental health things that we have in the jail with inmates and stuff. So, that was taking a big step in the right direction to change our contract and have a nurse there 8 hours a day rather than 1 hour a day. Because again, just the liability reasons alone, it's just.
I couldn't imagine that many people
for
1 hour.
Don't know
you
how
would
you
only
could
have
do
to
it.
each one you couldn't even
you couldn't even see them all in a week.
No.
For an hour, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then we also we purchased a dual view full body scan system, which we installed back in the jail. And everybody that gets arrested and comes into the jail now goes through that full body scan. It's similar to what you'd see at the airport that you walk through, and it's to prevent stuff from coming into the jail. We've had lots of contraband that comes in inside of people, and that's there for. And we give everybody the opportunity to give that stuff up voluntarily before they go through the machine, and might save them a charge. But if you don't give it up voluntarily before you go through the scanner and we detect stuff and we find it, then you do get charged with it, and it's another charge for bringing it into the jail then. And so it's for the safety of the jail, because again, people smuggling things into the jail, you can have drug overdoses by giving it to other inmates in there. And we've actually had weapons that have been smuggled into the jail inside of body cavities and things like that. And so for everybody's safety, that was a big purchase. That was a big safety issue for the facility to make it safer for our staff and everybody else. So, that was a big plus for the jail. Then during the past 3 years, we partnered with Ascension St. Vincent to fully equip 9 police vehicles with automated external defibrillators.
Oh, that's great.
The goal is to put one of those in every county police car that we have. Right now, we've got them in 9 vehicles. that's 3 defibrillators per shift that's out there running around and stuff. And again, it's been a little while since we've had them in our cars. We've not got to use them yet.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah,
but you know, again, as big as this county is, sometimes it takes a little while to get an ambulance somewhere, and you might just have a police officer in the area that's got an AED in his police car that might save somebody's life.
Definitely,
so money well spent. And again, like I said, we initially partnered with St. Vincent to do 6. And then this year at the sheriff conference, I purchased 3 more of them to take that total to 9. And we're going to continue to keep adding them to the fleet until we get them in every car up there. Because I feel like, you know, that's something that needs to be done, you know, to protect our citizens.
Right, so, absolutely.
We also partnered with Overdose Lifeline to put naloxone in all of our patrol vehicles. And if you don't know what that is, that's the reversal drug for overdoses. It's very important for us to have that in our vehicles. That's something that we do use a lot of, and we use it all the time. And I can't tell you, I haven't kept track of the stats to you know how many people we've actually saved as a result of that. But we've saved quite a few lives as a result of putting that back in the police cars. Because there for a while, that stuff is grant based. You know, when you got grants available, it makes it easy to provide that stuff.
Yeah.
They wanted to make it available in a box here in the community where the citizens could just come up and get that. And again, Matt Hine on my department has stepped up and helped me run this program for our department. I got it started and told him I'd like for him to run with that. And so he takes care of ordering the naloxone for our officers and stuff. And we tried to be that location where we could put a box outside and people could come and get it, but they were afraid people might not come to the sheriff's department to get naloxone. And so they thought that would be the best idea. And they're probably right, probably would. People may not want to come there, and we want people to come and get that.
Yeah.
You know, to save somebody's life. And so again, that's something else that we're doing with our police cars that we feel like is important, you know, for the community. We also installed computers with mapping in all of our police vehicles. We did that back in 2019. That helps our officers respond to details a whole lot quicker than before because, you know, especially today, again, several of my deputies that we've hired aren't from Washington County.
Yeah.
We've got one of our new deputies is from Orange County. We've got one from Crawford County. If they don't...
Yes. Every time you say Crawford County, I have to say Sissy Wolfpack. That's mine. Sissy Wolfpack.
But you know, when the detail comes in, a message gets sent to every officer's phone, and our phones are set up too, to where you can push a button on the phone and gives you driving directions to the detail you're on, or you've got your mapping system in your car that gives you driving directions to get there to speed things up, to have a faster response time. And again, very important in a very large county like we got. So that mapping system in the vehicles is a big plus.
Well, also all the construction we got going on, and when those mapping systems tell you to take an alternate route, you know, I mean, and yes, that to me should be a definite. I mean, that's a must, you know.
Well, and I tell you, you know, having the GPS locators on the cars and stuff like that too is very helpful too, because again, now dispatch can see, it helps with dispatching, because when a detail comes in and you've got a bad accident, the dispatcher, all they have to do is look up at the wall. There's a huge television screen there that's got all the little cars on there moving around where your deputies are.
Oh my gosh.
So you can dispatch according, you can see which officer is closest to the call and dispatch that officer to increase the response time. And so, again, that's a great thing that we have. It's also on our ambulances in the county and stuff. And so, again, sometimes addresses aren't very well marked, and you're trying to find an address for, say, a heart attack or something like that, and time is very essential, important there. And dispatch can watch you on the map and see how you just drove past that address. You need to turn around and go back. It's on your right, left, or whatever, and they can help dispatch that according, because they can watch the officers moving around in the ambulance and stuff. So it does improve response time and things, and very important to, you know, for saving lives and things like that. So,
absolutely. And I want to segue in. Actually, we just I put this up on my Facebook, but May the 2nd, the State Road 56 from Scottsburg to Salem, they'll be sealing it. So that'll be a little bit of closure there. So once again, Brent, this is where your dispatchers.
We're gonna be landlocked.
I know. We're gonna. It's true, but again, we have to realize, trust the process, and be thankful that we are getting stuff done. And that's, I mean, these are going to be good for our community.
Absolutely. we've started a drug drop program up there at the sheriff's department as well.
Tell that's wonderful.
Very important program that I felt like needed to be done. Now the city police has had a drug drop program for quite a while, but we thought it was important that we would give the public another location that they could come and drop that stuff off. So we started our own drug drop program in 2019 in the fall. We've got a box up there that people can come in and drop stuff in 24/7. It wasn't like that during COVID, but now we're open again and they can come in there and they can do that. I can tell you that since October of 2019, we have disposed of 584 pounds of prescription medication. And we get a lot of good comments from the public that comes through. We found the need and to make it easier for the public. So we've even partnered with the city police to do a drive-through drug drop now. We do that quarterly. We advertise that. It's so simple. All you got to do is drive in the parking lot, hand it to a police officer, and drive away. And then we separate the stuff out. It goes to the incinerator that day and it gets safely disposed of. And so, we can say that we've taken 584 pounds of prescription medications off the street or potentially out of the hands of kids. And there's been a lot of people that said, hey, I appreciate this. We had a family member pass away. They had all these narcotics in the house and we didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And you don't want to flush it down the toilet.
No,
that's not a good thing. No. And so, it's a service that we provide the public that we think is a great thing. And again, we're doing that quarterly now, drug drops, and it's another thing that Matt Hine has picked up. And him and Dustin Pridemore are helping me with that program to run it because they're eventually going to take that over and they'll be taking care of your drive-thrus. Right now, Timmy Miller, the city police chief, does that with us. It's me and Timmy and Dustin and Matt that does that. We also found the need, thought it would be a good thing for us to start a Cram the Cruiser food drive for our local food bank.
Love this.
I love it. Me and the kids always go. When we know that's happening, we always go and just
I have to say that I was blown away the first year we did it, which was 2 years ago, and we did it the day following Shop with the Cop, so everybody can kind of, they know when it is.
Absolutely.
And we partnered with Walmart and the JC store, and we've got police officers that will be at Walmart and police officers will be at the JC store. And overwhelmingly, we took in over 5,000 food items the first Cram the Cruiser food drive that we did, which was absolutely amazing. Didn't know what to expect. Our goal was to fill a police car with food, and we actually filled 6 police cars with food that first.
Isn't that awesome?
It was unbelievable, the way people came out. And so with our 2 food drives now, we've taken in cash, almost $2,800 cash to give the local food bank.
What a blessing.
And over 10,000 food items we've collected in the 2 years that we've done that. That's a pretty amazing amount to go to our local food bank.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
And they told us the first year we did it, the over 5,000 items was the biggest donation that they've ever had in one day donated to them. And that's awesome. One of the volunteers said they didn't have to buy macaroni and cheese for the food bank for 3 months.
Oh, I love that.
So,
I love that.
It's and that's great to give back to our community. And I feel like that's important for law enforcement to give back to their community. And that's just a way for law enforcement to step up and take a day to collect stuff and give it to our local food bank to help out our citizens and things. And it's, I guess, not a handout, but a hand up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, and because they tell us at the food bank, they said, hunger knows no season. It's like that all the time. We've actually started doing that quarterly with our drug drop. We also do that now when we have our drug drop, you can also bring in food items, and we do get food items sometimes. The last one that we did, we had just under 100 food items donated and $50 cash. And we actually brought in 72 pounds of prescription medication at this last drug through drive drop, but we've started doing that quarterly as well for the food bank, just because again, that people need food year round.
Absolutely.
It's not just during the holidays that they need food. So we felt like that was important enough to keep that going as well. So and to come circle back around and talk about modernizing the sheriff's department. We did purchase bookkeeping software through Lieberman Technologies to help out with bookkeeping up there when the State Board of Accounts came in, and we're still using these giant books. It's kind of like you're about the only sheriff's department in the state of Indiana that still uses those books, and so to try to get up with the times and modernize stuff, we've got the software, and now we're making great strides in our bookkeeping. I mean, and there was nothing wrong with it, but it's just outdated.
No, right.
How we done it. So, and we also we partner with PayGov to allow citizens to use debit credit cards to pay for crash reports, case reports, bonds, and tax warrants, because prior to me coming in as sheriff, it was in God we trust cash only.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of a thing of the past. Everybody uses plastic anymore.
And some people won't accept cash.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? No, why? Yes.
But that was the only thing that we would accept was cash. We didn't do plastic, and people would come in to get stuff and bring their debit or credit card, and they'd get mad because they'd have to go to the bank and things. So again, trying to modernize the department. There's something that, these things that we're just chipping away at to try to help make things easier for the public to do business and come in and get their reports. And we've got a website that's getting ready to roll out here real soon, where people will be able to go to our website and get a lot of these things from our website, which we'll make that announcement when that time comes. But it's Denny Stempowski is my grant writer for the department. She's been working on our website, got it just about ready to roll out, and I think it's going to be exciting for the people when we roll that out, because it'll give you a daily inmate roster too. You can sign up for alerts and inmate rosters. It'll come to you every day, and you'll automatically be able to see if you're looking for your loved one that didn't come home last night and you're wondering whether they made it in our facility or not. You just check our inmate roster.
It's nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, definitely.
But, we and Walmart's been very good to local law enforcement. Not only do they partner with us on the food drive, they also partnered with us to put trauma kits in all of our patrol vehicles. So we now have emergency trauma kits in all of our patrol vehicles as a thing that we partnered with Walmart, which was great. Like I said, Walmart's always been good to law enforcement around
They
here.
believe in that for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And Shop with a Cop, it's just
it's unbelievable
what
we do with Shop with a Cop and Walmart, and the way the community comes together for that Shop with a Cop. It's hard to imagine all that goes on during that Shop with a Cop.
Definitely, and it's if you need somebody or something to make you or to realize that we've got so many great people, just think about Shop with a Cop or experience Shop with a Cop. There's so many people that
and I keep using the word partnered, Becky, because again, I think that's important that the sheriff's department partner with all these people.
Well, absolutely.
And you have to. I've always said I'm a team player. I lead by example, and I think it's important that we have a good working relationship with the businesses in our community, with the law enforcement agencies. I was the lead investigator for the sheriff's department for 20 years. I went to regional detective meetings all over the place, got contacts like you wouldn't believe. I've got very good contacts with state, local, and federal government agencies, which helps us do our job every day. And without those contacts, it makes it very difficult to do that, and having that experience, the knowledge of being an investigator for 20 years for the sheriff's department helps me to lead these new guys on our department. You have to have a leader that can guide these new guys, because again, I've got four deputies up there that have been on less than a year. I've got 2 deputies that have been on 2 years or less. And then I've got another 3 that have been on 6 years or less. So you're talking a very young, very inexperienced department. And you have to have somebody that can guide those guys, because that's a big liability to have all that inexperience. And then unfortunately, experience doesn't come in a can. You can't just hand them a 6-pack, let them pop it open and drink it, and you automatically got 10 years experience. So again, I think that's what kind of sets me aside from other people who's seeking this position, is the experience that I have. Because I've got training from homicide investigations to burglary to theft to trace evidence. I've went to all kinds of training in the last 20 years, and that helps me to be able to guide these guys when they have questions, to investigate cases, because I want my deputies to be good investigators and to make good cases and things. And so again, I've got what it takes to lead these guys. Not only have I been the lead investigator for 20 years for the sheriff's department there, I've also been a general instructor for the department for 22 years. That's a instructor certification through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. I've got a couple of certifications through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. I've been the handgun firearms instructor there for 20 years at the sheriff's department, an active shooter instructor for 15 years at the sheriff's department, a rifle instructor for 14 years there at the sheriff's department. And there's just a lot of things going on up there at the department that I do that a lot of other sheriffs don't do with a lot of other departments. But I also have learned too that you have to learn to delegate those things out. Because again, I won't be there at the sheriff's department forever, and I want to leave the place in better shape than I found it. And I think I can say that I've done that. And I have. We recently got one of our deputies, Tori Hildreth, is a new firearms instructor for our department. He just went through the school, and I'm trying to delegate these things out that Brent has done and pass these things on to other officers there on the department, so that we will be better positioned to face the future needs of the citizens of Washington County. It's been a privilege and an honor to serve the people of Washington County, and again, I think I've got a good relationship with the council and the commissioners. When you go to some of those sheriff conferences and you talk to some of those other sheriffs and you hear about how they argue with their council and their commissioners and yell at each other and things, I just kind of chuckled to myself, because I've never had that kind of relationship with our council and commissioners. They're great people. They know that when Brent comes to the meetings, if he's there, it's because he needs something. Mm-hmm. And every time I went to ask for things, the council has been very good to listen to me and try to make every effort to give us the tools and things that we need to make the improvements at the department. And again, I think I've done those things, and I want to continue to do those things, and I'm excited to move forward. The sheriff's position is no different than anything else. It's a learning curve. And when I took over as sheriff, I had 29 years on as a full-time police officer. And I thought I had a pretty good idea what to expect, because 12 years I was third in command at the sheriff's department. And then Roger Newland got elected sheriff, and he appointed me as his chief deputy. And I was second in command for 4 years. So again, I was involved in the day-to-day decisions and operations at the sheriff's department and the jail, and I thought I knew what to expect. And when I got elected sheriff, I quickly found out that there was a whole lot that Brent still didn't know, even though I was in that position for all those years.
Always.
There's so much that you just don't know until you sit in that chair. And so the Sheriff's Association, when I went to the sheriff's school in 2018, they said hit the ground running, because your first 4 years will go by quicker than you think, and you're going to need to learn as much as you can to make it easier for you there. And again, with the liability issues and things, it's important to have somebody in that leadership role that understands liability and looks out for liability, because everything I do every single day, I'm thinking about liability, and you have to. And when I was a road officer, I didn't think about liability. That's not what road officers do. But as you climb the chain of command, you start thinking about that. When you get to the top, that has to be one of your priorities, because I got hired in up there as a corrections officer. I worked that for a year under John Agan. Then Jim Watson got elected sheriff. He hired me as a deputy. I was a patrolman for 3 years. He promoted me to a sergeant. I was a sergeant for 4 years before Claude Combs got elected sheriff, and he promoted me to a detective lieutenant. I was a detective lieutenant for 5 years. And then when Roger Lyles got elected sheriff, he promoted me to a detective captain. And again, so I'm climbing the ladder, and I was a detective captain then for 12 years until I got appointed as the chief deputy for 4 years. So, not only the experience do I bring to the table, but also bring the knowledge of the day-to-day operations and why we do things the way we do at the sheriff's department. And to bring somebody new in that doesn't have the experience or the training or the knowledge, it's almost like trying to reinvent the wheel and start over again, because that guy's going to have to learn all those things that Brent has learned over all these years. And so it makes sense to keep somebody there that's done a good job and knows these things and knows why we do the things we do. And, and again, like I said, I enjoy doing what I do. I think it's very important. The citizens of Washington County deserve to have a sheriff that's running for the right reasons. They deserve to have a sheriff that truly cares about the citizens of Washington County. And I can say that Washington County has been very good to me and my family. And I enjoy giving back to the county, and so does my family. It's not just me. My wife likes to volunteer. Trenton volunteers. My whole family volunteers. And,
your family is all in.
And we enjoy that. We enjoy giving back to the community, and that's something that we've always done. And I think it's very important. And again, you have to have a sheriff that cares about the people, and I am that sheriff. I do care about the people, and again, like I said, I enjoy doing what I do. I like to help the community. I've always done that, and I want to continue to do that. And like I said, if you don't know me, or you don't know the other candidates that's running, I think that it's pretty safe to say that me and the other candidates have all worked together at some point in time. And so the people that would know us best are the people that's worked with us. And so I encourage people, if you don't know me or you don't know the other candidates, to get out and talk to somebody. If you know somebody in the court systems, or somebody in the prosecutor's office or the probation office or the clerk's office, just ask them about the different candidates that's running for sheriff, and ask them what kind of job you think they've done. Then I'd love to have their vote on May the 3rd. And I'd like to continue moving forward and doing what I'm doing, and again, I'm excited at the opportunity to have 3 additional officers on this department to see what we can do now. Because in the past, a lot of times people will compare us to other police agencies around us, and I can remember one time when somebody asked me about Harrison County. They had an officer going around checking gas pumps for skimmers down there, and thought we should have somebody doing that. And I said, it's a great idea. Love to do that. The difference is Harrison County has 30-something deputies, and I only have 13. Yeah. And so there's a lot of things out there that I would love to do, but you also have so much to work with, right. And I try to do the best that I can with what we have. And I said, I've got some great officers on the department that's done some great jobs and done some great things, and they're going to continue to do some great things. And sure. I just like the opportunity to continue doing what we're doing and see what we can do in another 4 years. Because I think that we can make another substantial impact with things, more programs that we can get started and things that we can do for the community. And again, I just would like to be given an opportunity. And if people think I've done a good job, then I would appreciate their support next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Exciting. Yeah. I'm excited for you. I hope you get a chance to show everyone what you can do without COVID in the mix and actually have the true 4 years to
Absolutely. Well, because I think, COVID was a bad thing, but it was also a good thing. Like
it was an eye-opener.
Yeah, and no sheriff before me's ever had to deal with a pandemic. No. And so I think that's made me battle-tested and battle-ready.
Absolutely. If
we've been through that and we can, and we survived it, then I think we can do anything. Anything is possible. And and I'll also say, too, that no matter how good an organization may or may not be, there's always room for improvement. And same way at the sheriff's department, there's absolutely a lot of room for things to move forward after the sheriff's department continue to modernize things and move forward. And I'm excited, to possibly get an opportunity to lead the department for 4 more years and see what we can do in the next 4 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exciting thing.
We'll let you get out of here. We got to get out of here. But I want to say this was actually a paid program by Republican for Sheriff Brent Miller. And want to thank you for coming in and letting us know a little bit more about yourself. And this coming Tuesday, we'll find out, right?
Yes. Thanks again, Becky. I appreciate the opportunity.
And how does it read on the ballot? Your name? Brent Miller?
Yeah. Yep, Republican candidate Brent Miller.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Let's thank our sponsors.
Absolutely. Walmart, Meadowview Healthcare, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Celebrity Home Loans, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Fox Frilly Wealth Management.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Don't forget Alumni Banquet tonight.
Yes.
Exciting, for sure.
Absolutely.